It was supposed to be just another quiet morning at the luxury hotel. Guests walked in and out, the lobby smelled of fresh coffee, and the soft piano music played in the background. But in a matter of seconds, everything changed. When the gunshot echoed through the marble hall, everyone froze, everyone except one man. A middle-aged security guard named David Miller ran toward the sound, not away from it. And in that moment, he made a choice that would change his life forever. He didn't think about his job, his paycheck, or even his own safety. He saw a young woman in danger, a billionaire's daughter, and he acted purely out of instinct, out of kindness. Hey friends, before we get into this incredible true story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the like icon to support more inspiring stories like this one. This is Kindness Lights, where we share powerful tales that prove kindness still exists in our world. Leave a comment below about a time someone's kindness changed your day. We love hearing your stories too. David Miller was 52 years old, a quiet man with salt and pepper hair and tired eyes. He had been working as a night shift security guard at the Royal Crest Hotel for almost 11 years. He wasn't rich, not even close. He lived in a small apartment 2 bus rides away from work, drove an old pickup that coughed every morning, and packed peanut butter sandwiches for lunch. But what he lacked in money, he made up for in heart. Everyone at the hotel knew David. He was the man who held the door for guests, who smiled even when people ignored him, who picked up spilled coffee without a word. Some called him Mr. Sunshine, because he never seemed to lose his warmth. That morning, the hotel was hosting a charity brunch for one of the biggest tech companies in the country. The billionaire CEO, Richard Parker, was there with his 22-year-old daughter, Lily Parker. She was studying social work at Stanford, kind, down-to-earth, and known for treating everyone with respect, from waiters to janitors. David had seen her many times before. She always smiled and said, "Good morning, Mr. Miller," when she passed through the lobby. He appreciated that. Most guests didn't even glance his way. But that morning, as Lily walked toward the ballroom with her father, a man entered through the side door. He wasn't a guest. His face was hard, his eyes cold. David noticed the bulge under his jacket, and his heart skipped a beat. "Sir, I need you to stop right there," David called out, his hand moving toward his radio. The man didn't stop. He pulled out a gun. Before anyone could react, the shot rang out. David didn't think. He just moved. He threw himself in front of Lily, his body shielding hers as the bullet tore through his shoulder and knocked him to the floor. The lobby erupted in screams. The gunman was tackled by another guard within seconds, but David lay bleeding on the marble tiles, his uniform soaked in red. Lily knelt beside him, her hands trembling. "Stay with me," she whispered, tears running down her face. "Please, stay with me." David smiled weakly. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice faint. "Yes," she said, choking back sobs. "You saved me." "Good," he murmured, before his eyes rolled back and everything went dark. When David woke up, the room was white and quiet. The steady beeping of a heart monitor echoed beside him. His shoulder burned with pain, but he was alive. A nurse smiled. "You're one lucky man," she said softly. The door opened, and in walked Lily and her father, Richard Parker. The billionaire looked different, humbled, emotional. He pulled up a chair beside David's bed. "Mr. Miller," he said, voice shaking, "you saved my daughter's life. I don't know how to thank you." David tried to sit up, wincing. "Just doing my job, sir." Richard shook his head. "No. You did far more than your job. You risked everything for someone you barely knew." Lily reached for David's hand. "You didn't just save me," she said softly. "You reminded me that kindness and courage still exist in this world." David didn't know what to say. He had never thought of himself as a hero. He was just a man doing what felt right. But what happened next truly shocked everyone. A few weeks later, when David returned home from the hospital, he found an envelope taped to his door. Inside was a letter from the Parkers, and a check. A life-changing one. Enough to pay off his debts, buy a home, and retire comfortably. But more than that, the Parkers had started a foundation in his name, the David Miller Kindness Fund, a charity that provided scholarships for the children of hotel workers, janitors, and security guards across the country. News outlets picked up the story. People from all over sent letters, gifts, and thank you notes. Strangers stopped David on the street to shake his hand. But through it all, he stayed the same, humble, quiet, and kind. When a reporter asked him how it felt to be called a hero, David just smiled and said, "I think kindness is just doing the right thing, even when no one's watching." Months later, David went back to the Royal Crest Hotel, not as a guard, but as a guest of honor. The lobby had a new plaque on the wall, engraved with his name and the words "True wealth is not measured in dollars, but in the kindness we show to others." As he stood there, surrounded by co-workers and friends, Lily Parker hugged him tightly and whispered, "You didn't just save my life, you changed it." And maybe that's the real lesson here. You don't need to be rich, powerful, or famous to make a difference. Sometimes, one act of pure kindness can ripple farther than you could ever imagine. Because kindness doesn't just change others, it changes the world. This was Kindness Lights. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, even the smallest act of kindness can shine the